This is the solution to the challenge called Challenge First Papa Bob's website, where you're going to create the first pass at a website that takes orders for a fictitious pizza company called Papa Bob's. Now, I want to stress right off the bat that there are many different ways that you could go about this. Your code might look different from this and still work, and that's fine. As long as the results are correct, I really don't care about any stylistic choices you make versus the ones that I make. So, for example, what you name things, which conditional statement you use, and so on, as long as you get the same results. All right. So, if you did it differently, maybe this video helps out, and you can see just a different way of implementing it. If you get stuck, and that's why you're watching this video, please, again, only watch enough of this lesson to get unstuck and then continue on your own. It's going to force you to use conditional statements, different the conditional logical operators, as well as radio buttons and checkboxes. So this is a great exercise. It's probably obviously the biggest one we've done so far, and let's get started. So the first requirement was to name our new project Challenge First Papa Bob's website, and we'll make sure we've selected ASP.NET Web Application template. Click OK. We're going to make sure it's an empty template with folders and references for web forms, and click OK. And I'm going to try and go through this pretty quickly with regards to creating the user interface because there's just so much there. So I apologize if I go too quickly, but it's kind of important that we get going here. So I'm going to add a new web form. We're going to call it default, like always. All right, so we're going to go over to the design view, and the first thing we're going to do is we're going to create Papa Bob's Pizza and software. Okay, and here I'm going to use the assets from the zip file called cs-asp_013 challenge. And you can see I've unzipped that folder, and now I have both. This file that I explained before would be used for helping you lay out the page correctly so you don't have to rewatch the video. And then also this papabob.png, the logo. So I'm just going to drag and drop that and add it to the Solution Explorer. And now I'm going to make sure that I place it right there by dragging and dropping it into place. I'm going to ignore all of these and just click OK. And now I'm going to select this. I'm going to change the font to Arial Helvetica. And then let's try to use a H1 and see what happens here. Okay, it works, so we'll go along with that. If it wanted to move off to the second line, then we would obviously have to use just a larger font instead of the H1. Okay, so let's move on now. The first thing we need to do is create several radio buttons. Let me, first of all, go full screen and then pin this down. And now we're going to add some radio buttons. So I'm just going to click radio button, radio button, and radio button. All right, I know the next thing I'm going to need is another set of radio buttons. So I'm going to add another radio button and another radio button. And then I'm going to need five checkboxes. So let's go ahead and add a checkbox, checkbox, checkbox. And there's 5 checkboxes. All right, great. So the next thing up is to go to Papa Bob's special deal. All right, we'll come back and style that in just a moment. And we'll just type this out. Save $2 when you add pepperoni. I always forget how to spell that. Green peppers and anchovies. Or pepperoni, red peppers, and onions to your pizza. Great. Now I want to add a button be our purchase button. We'll add that in just a moment. There will be a total, and I'm going to add a label control there. And then I'm going to just write some more text here. Sorry, at this time you can only order one pizza online and pick up only. We need a better website, and we'll create a better website for Papa Bob's here pretty soon. Ironically, there's already a papabobs.com out there. I don't know what it does, but I also registered papabobspizza.com. I'm sure I'll get sued for that. However, at some point as we improve this website over time, I'll post it out there so you can kind of see the final result, but that might be way, way down the line. Okay, so let's start off with the radio buttons, name them, and then set some things about them. So the first thing we want to go is call this, we're going to call this the small radio button, the medium radio button, and the large radio button. And I'll come back, and now I'm going to rename these. We're going to call this Papa Bob size, which is 16 inches, and then dash $, $16. All right, and let's go ahead and call this the group name will be pizza, or how about size group? That sounds good, size group. All right, so the next one up, this will be Mama Bob's size, Mama Bob's, or just Mama Bob's size. This will be a 13-inch, and it'll be $13. And this will be size group again, I think. Is that what I named it? Okay. And then finally, we'll go Baby Bob size, 10-inch, $10. All right, and then group name is size group. All right, look that over. That looks about right. So let's move on now to the crust. So we'll go thin radio button, and then deep radio button. Again, I don't care what you call these. The text on the deep will be deep dish, which will be an extra $2. And I'll put a plus in front of that. All right, and we want to call this crust group. All right, to differentiate from the size group. And here we're going to go with the text. I'm going to set that equal to thin crust. And let's go group name. We're going to go this crust group, right? Okay, I think that's right. All right, moving on. Now let's go with the toppings. So the first one is going to be pepperoni. Pepperoni checkbox. And let's just go ahead and fill this all out now. Pepperoni plus $1.50. All right, next up is the onions, which will be plus $0.75. And let's rename that onion checkbox. Here we're going to go, we'll call this green pepper, because I might have green olives in the future, so I'll go ahead and add pepper, the name there. And the text here will be green peppers, so we'll go plus $0.50. Okay, and that looks good. Moving on, we're going to go red peppers plus $0.75. and we'll call this red pepper checkbox. All right, and then finally here we're going to go anchovy checkbox, and we'll go anchovies plus $2, something like that. All right, that looks good. Okay, here let's format this. We're going to use again a Arial Helvetica, and we're going to change this to like an H3. Why didn't you change the font? There we go. And as you can see, I want to change the color of this as well. So we're going to go with the foreground color and just choose some sort of red. Click OK. So we got Papa Bob's special deal. Now we need our purchase button. So we're going to call this purchase. And I'll go ahead and just name this purchase button. And then I want, I'm going to call this total label. And we'll go ahead and set the default text to 0.00, like so. In fact, let me make a little space in between the text and that label, like so. All right, let's say what we got. And now let's go ahead and double click the purchase button, and here's where we do all the hard work. So first thing we want to do is just establish a double total, and we'll just add to this total as we move through each of the radio box groups and the check boxes, and then obviously some check for Bob's special, and we'll just add or subtract values to it. All right, so to begin with, we're going to do if small radio button is checked, then what we want to do is total equals 10 to start off with. Else if medium radio button is checked, then we're going to want to set total initially to, what, 13, right? And then else total equals 16. All right, so there we go. That's a good start. Now, if the deep dish is selected, then if deep radio button is checked, then we want to do total plus equals total, or how about this? We'll start with this one. Total equals total plus 2. Now we could shortcut that obviously, and I would advocate that plus equals 2, like so. Very cool. All right, next up are all the checkboxes, and we could write if statements, but I'm going to use the ternary operator instead. So total equals pepperoni checkbox checked question mark. Here, let me get rid of the toolbox because this is going to be a long line of code. Let me move this over as well. Total plus 1.5, otherwise just return the total, like so. Awesome. So we'll just keep doing, whoops, we'll just keep doing that. There we go. So total equals onion checkbox checked, total plus 0.75, otherwise just return total. Total equals green pepper checkbox dot checked. It's either going to equal the total plus 0.5 or just total. Total equals, and like I said, you don't have to use this technique. You could use a simple if statement instead. I'll show that in the next one, okay? So 0.75, otherwise total. All right, I'm going to break from this pattern, and for the last one, do this total. Let's go if anchovies checkbox checked, then we can do a total plus equal to 0, and I could even make it short like this, or I could even make it a one-liner since it's simple as that. Okay, either of those three will work if you want to go that route. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is now check for Bob's Special. And you can recall it was kind of involved. It's either going to be, you're going to save $2 whenever you add pepperoni, green peppers, and anchovies, or you add pepperoni, red peppers, and onions to your pizza. Got it. All right, so we're going to have to do a logical and a logical or to make this work. All right, so here we go. It's going to be long. Pepperoni checkbox dot checked and green peppers checkbox checked and anchovy checkbox checked, or pepperoni checkbox checked and red pepper checkbox checked and onion checkbox checked. Then total equals total minus 2.0, or again we could do the minus equals like this to do the same thing. And now we're going to get total label dot text equals total dot toString. And if you wanted to get fancy, you could even do, we can add it like that to put a $ in front of it. Okay, now wait a second. I need to do something here with the order of operation. In fact, let me put these each on different lines so we can see them fairly easily. So I want to check for all three of these conditions, or I want to check for all three of these. Notice where I put the parentheses here to separate those two groupings of three checkbox checked values. All right, so I separate them with the or right there, and that should work. Let's go ahead and run the application to make sure we don't have any bugs or anything like that. All right, it was a big exercise. Let's see if we got it right here. Okay, not the prettiest web page in the world, but it's a start. All right, so we'll start with the Baby Bob size. We'll start with thin crust, and we'll start with just pepperoni, and it comes out to $11.5. I'd like that to be formatted better. We'll learn how to do that soon, but that's just another one of the problems with this little website that we've cooked up here. All right, so I'm going to add just onions. It's $10.75. Add just green peppers. So you can see here I'm just testing all the cases, and I'll just go through this mindlessly for a little while just to make sure all the numbers add up in my mind. Now I can try combinations of these, but I'm fairly sure that all of these work. Let's try the Mama Bob size just with nothing. It's $13, and with red peppers, $13.75. Okay, great. The deep dish now with nothing. It's $15. The pop-up size with that's $18, 16 plus 2. Great. Okay, so here we go. Let's now check the Bob Special deal. You either have to add green pepper, pepperoni, green peppers, and anchovies. So let's do that. Pepperoni, green pepper, and anchovies. Now we know this number is 18. Then we're going to add $2, $3.50, $4.25. So we're going to subtract $2 from $4.25. So it should be $2.25. So it should be 20.25 if this is right. Let's think about this again. Oh, wait, I looked at this incorrectly. That is correct. I thought green peppers were 75. So let's go through that again. 150 plus 50 is $2 plus $2 for anchovies. That's $4 on top of the 18. Should be 22 minus 2 equals 20. Great. So that works. Now let's try the other scenario. Pepperoni, red peppers, and onions. All right, here we go. 150 is $3 on top of 18. So that should be 21 minus 2 should be $19 even. I think it works. All right. If you got it, congratulations. That was a bigger project, involved a lot more code, and now you can see the complexity of our applications beginning to grow. Hopefully you got this. If not, again, my advice is wait a day, try this again. Cement this in your mind. Make sure you get you understand radio buttons and checkboxes first and foremost. You understand the different comparison operators, the logical operators, and some of the other operators I use to do the plus equals, minus equals, and things of that nature. All right? So the ternary operators, the if else statement, all that good stuff. Okay? You're doing great. Hang in there. We're pushing forward. Let's move on to the next lesson. Thank you.